Let's bring in John Catsimatidis, the Red Apple Group chairman and CEO. I mean, this is an effort to just get as much money from as many people as humanly possible, and that is scary. Now they're talking about expanding this across the state. People will push back, people will rebel, and people will flee the state.
Horrifying. I'm trying to work with the governor, I'm trying to work with the mayor, but we need some common sense. And right now, what they're doing in Albany, they're trying to confuse people more than solve problems. I mean, I think people could understand I guess, a one-time tax. They could understand a subsidy until we get over the problems. But what my suggestion was the other day was, maybe how about you cut all the departments by 3%? We can cut any department by 3% and they won't feel it. But right now, they're going to chase more businesses out. They're going to chase more. They're going to scare away foreign investors. You don't want to create a problem in New York City real estate altogether.
Foreign domestics, you just don't want to chase anybody out of the city. You want those people here spending their money here, shopping here, sending their kids to school here. You want a thriving New York City. Chasing people out who pay, for the most part, the most in taxes, why would you want to send them elsewhere? Okay, so this is Mamdani. This is from today, responding to Governor Hochul's proposed tax on those second homes. Listen here.
When it comes to the pied-à-terre, the most important aspect of this proposal is one that it would raise $500 million, and that's something we continue to be confident about, and we continue to see this as a critical part of bridging the fiscal deficit.
For now, because if you chase those people out, that money's not there anymore. Listen to this. What could go wrong, right, when you look at proposals like this? So the governor's office claims that a $1 million market value is the equivalent to a sales value of about $5 million. So it's a big disparity. But the disparity is even more pronounced with some specific examples. One Midtown Manhattan penthouse has a current value of $4.2 million. It's sold in 2024 for more than $135 million. So what could go wrong on telling somebody that you owe the city and the state money based on market value? I also want to talk about Ken Griffin, okay? The city could definitely use him here, but he's now threatening to double down in Florida. This is Mamdani today. I'm possibly having a discussion with him to, I don't know, woo him back.
A member of our team reached out to his to set up a conversation. That continues to be an open invitation, and it's part of invitations that I've made to a number of business leaders across the city. I'm there to listen and there to have a conversation that goes beyond places of agreement, but perhaps places of disagreement, hear honest reflection, critique, and not put any precondition on the nature of that conversation.
Just after Griffin said it was creepy when the mayor stood outside of his apartment and talked about him needing to pay more taxes. So apparently there's some reports that he's reached out to Griffin, but Griffin's waiting for an apology. Where do you see all this going?
I think Griffin is waiting for an apology, but I think he's going to leave. I think he's reached a situation where if he doesn't get screwed this time, he's going to get screwed next time. What's going on in Albany, what's going on in our city, everybody has to calm down. And they need some common sense. There is no common sense going on right now. And I think that if you buy a new apartment, it gets assessed at 40% of the value of what you're buying it at. So the numbers could go crazy.
Oh, yeah.
And look, right now, we got a problem. Yeah. Governor has to take care of the problem. Otherwise, she's going to have a problem.
It's concerning when you have the mayor, the governor, not talking about a business-friendly environment for everyone, and rather demonizing the rich, demonizing the billionaires.
New York has always been business-friendly. New York has been the capitalist city of the world. You know, President Trump grew up here. I grew up here. We got to make New York work. If New York doesn't work, that's going to hurt a lot of things. And, you know, they're going to move down to Florida. Yeah. I mean,
or
Texas.
Other places, yeah. John, good to see you. Thank you so much.
Be sure to like and subscribe for all the Fox News latest on YouTube and catch full shows streaming now on Fox One.